OSU cross country continues to dominate the conference. Cowgirl and Cowboy basketball prepare for their upcoming season.
And all eyes look forward to the Bedlam finale here in Stillwater. All this and more coming up on the Poke Report. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the Poke Report, your home for all things OSU athletics. I'm Griff McClellan.
And I'm Toni Wetmore. And Griff, it's only fitting that we are here outside of Boone Pickens Stadium, where tomorrow afternoon the Cowboys will take on the Sooners in the final Bedlam matchup.
That's crazy to think. What's an even crazier thought is just 5 weeks back when we last filmed at Boone Pickens Stadium, OSU was 2-2 entering its bye week. Safe to say it's been a remarkable turnaround, running a 4-game winning streak and sitting at 6-2, tied for first place in the Big 12.
Oh, absolutely, and that's the type of season that I would prefer.
Absolutely, and without a doubt, it's going to be an emotional crowd in Boone Pickens tomorrow night. And with the 113-year rivalry coming to an end, Jake Ferraro had a chance to walk around campus and get students' feelings about this final Bedlam match.
On Saturday, Oklahoma State and the University of Oklahoma will play each other at 2:30 at Boone Pickens Stadium. It will be the last Bedlam played at Boone Pickens Stadium before OU leaves to go to the SEC. In the morning, lines will begin with students waiting to get inside the stadium. Students will be filled with excitement, energy, and will be loud, knowing it's the last Bedlam in Stillwater. Students express their feelings knowing this is the last time OU will be visitors at BPS.
Excitement, a lot of excitement. Hoping OSU wins.
I always love Bedlam games, and I don't know, it's just a cool thing to be around.
Kind of missing that thing that you had to look forward to, like Bedlam game is it's really big, you know?
I don't know, it's just kind of like an ending thing, like how when stuff ends, you know, you just generally are sad about ending.
The whole rivalry is, as a whole, it's just huge for the town of Stillwater, and it's going to be insane because it is the last one, so there's probably going to be a lot of shaking of this ground to go on Saturday.
OSU players and head coach Mike Gundy can count on one thing from the OSU students. They will bring the rowdy, jumping up and down, screaming, and much more on Saturday.
The student section will probably, it's going to be, I'm getting goosebumps right now, but it's going to be insane. It's probably going to be really competitive to an extent that Stillwater, OSU, you've never seen before.
For the Poke Report, I'm Jake Ferraro.
Thanks, Jake. It's unfortunate seeing this historic and iconic rivalry come to an end, but I can't wait to see Boone Pickens loud and energized this weekend. Now, Toni, it's never an easy task facing the Sooners, although the Cowboys are on a roll right now.
Oh, of course, and you never know what either team can pull out for a Bedlam game like this.
Absolutely.
And the stakes are really high for the last Bedlam game in Stillwater. Oklahoma State wants to send OU packing to the SEC, and Oklahoma is looking to have the last laugh away from home. Nathan Shell previews what both sides feel about this matchup.
For over a century, the Oklahoma State Cowboys have battled the Oklahoma Sooners in football. The in-state rivals will meet in Stillwater for the 118th Bedlam with major Big 12 championship implications on the line. After starting 7-0, the Sooners dropped their first game of the season last week against Kansas. The Cowboys are trending in the opposite direction. Despite losing 2 of its first 4 games, OSU surged back and has won 4 straight to head into this matchup with momentum. Bedlam is a major spectacle for the state of Oklahoma, and the fact that this is the last one for the time being increases the stakes even more.
It's going to be a huge game. It's very important to me to come out with a win, not only for the fans but just for our team. We want to get another win on the win column.
Both teams are ranked for this Saturday showdown. The Sooners are 9th and the Cowboys are 22nd in the college football playoff rankings.
People say it's a big game. I mean, and I've said this for years, every game's a big game or the end of the year doesn't become a big game.
OSU brings an efficient running attack to the table for this game. Sophomore Ollie Gordon leads the nation in rushing yards. The Pokes will need to shut down dual-threat quarterback Dylan Gabriel. He's accounted for 27 touchdowns this season for the Sooners. With OU headed to the SEC, The teams aren't guaranteed to meet again, but Coach Mike Gundy has a suspicion the teams will.
Now, we'll eventually play them again. I think it'll be in a bowl, like they'll be bowl. SEC and Big 12 had a lot of bowl matchups, and I think that'll probably be the next time. Regular season is, in my opinion, history.
For OU, it's the opportunity to put the exclamation mark on a historically slanted rivalry. For OSU, it's a chance to have the last laugh in a classic in-state rivalry. For the Poke Report, I'm Nathan Schell.
Thanks, Nathan. I'm sure with the nature of this game, both sides are so excited for the competitiveness and intensity of this game. Now, Griff, the Cowboys have been on a roll recently, but Ollie Gordon will have to continue to play with that intensity to face this rushing defense.
Yes, OU is a top 3 rushing defense. They'll need another big performance from Ollie Gordon. That being said, OSU poses a threat going into Bedlam following a dominant victory over Cincinnati. Devin Bloomer has that recap.
America's greatest homecoming ended with a dominant win for OSU against Cincinnati as they beat the Bearcats 45-13, behind another big game for Ollie Gordon and a breakout game from senior transfer Leon Johnson. Ollie Gordon had another game rushing over 250 yards as that makes back-to-back games doing that feat. Gordon finished the day with 271 yards and 2 touchdowns. He would be named Big 12 Offensive Player of the Week for the 3rd week straight. Ollie Gordon says that going against top running defenses is very personal to him as he looks to perform anyways.
You know, it just rubbed me the wrong way when teams think they can just stop us in the run game, you know, so I feel like that was just more motivation to break the 100 yards that they haven't let up.
In the air, Leon Johnson led the charge. Johnson had his first start for OSU and didn't disappoint. He finished the game with 5 catches for 149 yards. He led the team in receptions, receiving yards, targets, and had the longest catch of the day, being a 67-yarder. Johnson was named Big 12 Newcomer of the Week. Head coach Mike Gundy would go on to say how Johnson's performance didn't surprise him too much.
I think that's a fair comment. I felt like he would play really good, but I'm not going to say I thought that he would step up the first time and go for 150. So I think surprise is pleasantly kind of surprised. But he's always practiced well, and, I mean, you have to give him credit.
The Cowboys have their biggest test of the season this weekend as Bedlam will take place here in Stillwater at 2:30 p.m. The Cowboys, who are now ranked 22nd in the CFP poll, will look to beat the number 9 ranked OU and potentially the last regular season Bedlam matchup. For the Poke Report, Devin Bloomer.
Thanks, Devin. Hopefully the Cowboys can have another strong performance and carry momentum in the Bedlam.
We're going to take a quick break, but we have a lot more to cover. Cowboy and Cowgirl basketball are starting their seasons, and we have a team that will have their 15th reunion. Stay tuned.
I want to show you something. This is the money we could save by switching from fresh packed California crushed tomatoes to concentrated tomato paste.
I want to show you something too. I got a new door. Go take a look at it.
Nobody uses better ingredients than Little Caesars, like fresh-packed California crushed tomatoes. Pick up a large, deep dish for just $8.
Pizza.
Introducing Lincoln Black Label at Diffie Ford Lincoln. Designed to impress those with impeccable taste, Lincoln Black Label features a collection of interior themes and a host of exclusive membership privileges, inspired by attention to detail and a love of automobiles. With Lincoln Black Label, you'll enjoy an extended premium maintenance plan that covers wear items or even remote vehicle delivery. Lincoln Black Label isn't about luxury ownership, it's about membership. Lincoln Black Label, exclusively at Diffie Ford Lincoln.
Welcome back to the Poke Report. As promised, we have many more sports to cover for you, including Cowgirl soccer. The Cowgirls had a first-round exit in the Big 12 championship. Zach Mullis has the recap on how the Cowgirls season unfolded.
The Oklahoma State soccer season has come to a close, and while the Cowgirls had a strong start to the season, a late-season struggle for form caught up to them. Coming into the season, the Pokes had lost some star goal scorers, such as Grace Yoakum, who graduated, and Olivia Dow, who transferred to Dallas Baptist University. The big questions were who were going to score the goals and who would create those chances. When the season started, those questions were answered. Hannah Chance was able to bag 7 goals in 5 games as the Cowgirls comfortably beat teams such as SFA, Little Rock, and Texas State. the Cowgirls finished off their non-conference schedule with 7 wins and 2 losses, with both losses being 1-goal games away from home. When Big 12 play came around, the team met the challenge, starting off with 3 wins over Iowa State, Kansas, and K-State. Coach Carmichael didn't know what to expect from the team at the time, but was happy with the team's performances.
So with so many new pieces, it was really hard for us to know what to expect. But I would have hoped that we could get to this point. Certainly being 10-2 is a great record no matter who you're playing, and starting this conference season off with 3 wins is great.
UCF was the Cowgirls' first challenge, and they passed convincingly, winning 2-1 against one of the Big 12's best teams. With the team 11-2 and 4-0 in conference, they looked like they were going to be one of the great surprises of the Big 12. However, their schedule did not get any easier, and the Cowgirls would begin a 5-game losing streak. 4 of those, they lost 1-0. One of the problems was the lack of putting away chances, which Addison Roberts pointed out.
I know my team. I know our forwards, and I know that they have a great ability to score. And so I think it's just finishing the opportunities when we get them is going to be really important.
The last game of the regular season was Bedlam, which OU was on a similar run of form, only winning 1 of their last 6. The game was really scrappy the whole time until Alex Moore scored a screamer to give Oklahoma State a Bedlam win. However, they got to play OU again in the first round of the Big 12 tournament, where OU would score in the final minutes, knocking Oklahoma State out of the tournament and ending their season. While the team may have had a disappointing end to their season, there's a lot to be looking forward to next year as the team gets more experience. For the Poke Report, I'm Zach Mullis.
Thanks, Zach. The Cowgirls have a lot of young talent as well as some returning seniors such as Molly Briner, so I'm excited to see how the team turns around in the spring. Griff, as one season ends, another one starts. Basketball is just around the corner.
Indeed, and I don't know about you, but I'm pretty excited about this season. There's a lot to look forward to for both the Cowboys and Cowgirls, and see what coaches Boynton and Hoyt have in store with these newcomers coming in.
Yes, I can't wait to see what both teams do this season.
Yes, and that being said, the Oklahoma State Cowboys were in action earlier this week in an exhibition matchup versus Oklahoma Baptist. Emma Lightfoot has those highlights.
The time has finally come. Basketball season for the Oklahoma State Cowboys is here. They have spent the entire offseason preparing, recruiting, and working toward a successful season, and the time to prove that is now. Coach Mike Boynton and the Cowboys started this season off with a bang after a 95-53 win against the Oklahoma Baptist Bison in a home exhibition game. After the exhibition win, Boynton is proud of the way his team played how they practice, but he recognizes that there is still more work to do.
For tonight's game, obviously, the score is one thing. The way we played is certainly something I'm more proud of. Thought we played the way we've trained. That's not always the case. We shared the ball extremely well. We guarded pretty well connected for the most part. But there's certainly some areas we need to get better at. That's where our focus will turn as we start to prepare for Monday.
Although the Cowboys have a new-look team this year with 7 newcomers, they might not have to worry about players stepping up to fill a role. 3 freshmen, Justin McBride, Brandon Garrison, and Eric Daly Jr., each had a chance to demonstrate what they are capable of. McBride led the team in points with 19, Garrison had a double-double and 5 blocks, and Daly shot 100% from the field. Now, the young guys have a chance to prove themselves again. On Monday, the Cowboys' home opener for the regular season is against the Abilene Christian Wildcats. Tip-off is at 8 p.m. in Gallagher-Iba Arena.
Thanks, Emma. It's been a long offseason, and I can't wait to see GIA packed and energized for the season opener next week. Now, many OSU students are familiar with historic and dominant programs such as football, wrestling, cross country, but one team many people aren't familiar with is the now non-existent swim team. Did you even know that an OSU swim team existed?
I didn't. The team has not been active since 1979, but the team still has annual reunions to reminisce on their time at OSU. Jenna Murph has more details.
Varsity swimming is back at Oklahoma State, even if it's only for a weekend. The OSU swim team recently held its 15th annual reunion. This reunion allows the athletes to gather from across the nation and world to reminisce on their time at OSU.
As you can see, we have a reunion every year. Lots of people turn up. We bonded for life and we had a lot of fun. And if I look back, I think probably those 4 years were the best 4 years of my life.
The swim team was founded in 1963 by Jim Cutter, and it expanded to include a women's side when Title IX was passed in 1972. For many members of the program, Oklahoma State was the only acceptable option when it came to college swimming.
I finally decided that if I was going to swim, especially if I was going to swim in the Big 8, I had to stay in Stillwater and swim for OSU.
In 1979, Coach Jim Cutter retired, and Oklahoma State decided to cut the swim program.
Once Coach retired, as Johnny said, there was nobody to step up to replace him, and nobody would do what he was willing to do.
Even though the program produced Big 8 champions, All-Americans, and Olympians, you'll be hard-pressed to find any evidence of the program on campus. Here in the architecture building, you can see a pool lip, which is one of the last remaining things.
You can also see a series of pictures of the team and the entrance of the Colvin off to the side by the vending machines. Besides that, the program's outdoor pool has been built over, the indoor competition pool at the Colvin has been permanently closed, and the team has been completely erased from Heritage Hall. Even though the program has been all but forgotten, the former athletes still hold out hope that swimming will return to OSU.
Swimming gave me everything I have, and I just wish that OSU would resurrect the swimming program.
Yeah. Amen.
Don't know if that's ever going to happen, but it would be nice if they would consider it. So.
If OSU reestablished the team, it would be the only Division I program in Oklahoma. It would also be the 9th women's team and the 6th men's team in the Big 12 Conference. For the Poke Report, I'm Jenna Murph.
Thanks, Jenna. Hopefully the swim team can make a return to OSU sometime in the near future.
We're going to take another quick commercial break, but don't go anywhere. Coming up next, we have more updates on several sports as well as our favorite segment, Weekly College Picks. Stay tuned.
At ASAP Energy, our goal is to provide the best customer service for whatever our clients need.
My relationship with ASAP Energy came about in 2007. I was wanting to build a convenience store. I didn't know how to do it. I'd never been in the business. I just felt comfortable with Rick. And so I knew that I wanted to do business with a guy like that. Integrity, loyalty, and family. I would recommend that to anybody. Thanks for taking a chance on me.
At ASAP Energy, everything matters.
Where were you born? It's a question asked all the time. Because where you're from shapes who you are, inspires how you do things. And when that inspiration comes from a place this refreshing, this majestic, this, well, you get the idea. Coors Light, born in the Rockies.
Welcome back to the Poke Report, where Oklahoma State has recently been revving it up. Oklahoma State cross country celebrates another Big 12 championship following a successful trip to Ames, Iowa. The OSU men's cross country puts on a dominant performance, making this their 4th consecutive Big 12 title. The Cowboys cleared number 3 BYU with 30 points overall, with the OSU men scoring 25 points that day. And with the help of freshman Brian Musso, it was a clean sweep. Musso broke the Iowa State record with his winning time of 22 minutes and 46 seconds in the 8K. His time was also the fastest in school history, surpassing Issei Rodriguez with his time of 22 minutes and 49 seconds. On the women's side, distance runner Taylor Rowe collects her first individual title with her time of 19 minutes, 26 seconds, making it the second fastest 6K in the program's history. Her time was only bested by herself in 2021. However, the Cowgirls fell short of its third consecutive conference title, falling 4 points behind BYU. The cross-country team's next event will be the Midwest Regionals, held right here in Stillwater on Friday, November 10th.
And the Cowboys win wasn't the only OSU win this weekend. Cowgirl and Cowboy tennis took on the ITA Fall Nationals in California. As Alex Garcia and Tyler Zink move into the ITA Fall Nationals, they both collected wins so far in their open singles. Alex Garcia beats MTSU's Leo Requin 3-6, 1-6, and 4-6 in the first round. Tyler Zink also moved up as he beat Arizona State's Murphy Cazones 3-6, 6-1, and 6-2. For the women's, they also have wins under their belt as Anja Obi-Kajurdu and Anastasia Komar compete in the open double. Kajurdu and Komar defeated a Florida international duo 6-0 and 6-3. The ITA Fall Nationals will continue through Sunday, November 5th. We wish both teams luck.
Yes, indeed, Tony. And another team eager for a victory is Equestrian. The OSU Equestrian team is facing Fresno State, hoping to end a 2-game losing streak. The Cowgirls have not had the greatest start for its season and are currently on a losing streak with 2 losses against Michigan State and Texas A&M. As the Equestrian team is currently facing Fresno State, their chances of beating the Bulldogs are high. OSU has a record of 13-3 against the Bulldogs and have never lost to them at home. The Cowgirls look to grab another win as this will be their last matchup at home. Hopefully the Cowgirls can pull through in their final home match in Stillwater. Tony, have you ever had the chance to ride a horse?
I did. I actually used to ride horses when I was younger.
Little known fact, so did I when I was about 8 or 9 years old.
Oh, wow. And speaking of horses, we have our Big 12 analyst joining us now, Chase Horsley. Chase, what do you have for us today?
Hey guys, so the Big 12 is in a very tight race after the Sooners fell to Kansas, and you guys predicted that, but hey, let's jump into it. So these are basically the teams that are 4-1 on the season so far and the best chances of making it up to Arlington. Iowa State sitting at number 5. They're on a 3-game winning streak. Last loss was against the Sooners, but the big key points are Iowa State ranked second to last in the Big 12 scoring and 4th in defensively, right behind OU. Defense is playing well, but Iowa State has been struggling as well too, with Rocco Becht as well. He's passed for 1,700 yards, 13 touchdowns, but ranked 6th in the Big 12. Following them is number 4, Kansas State. Now, Kansas State is one of the hottest teams, and a lot of people could say that this Texas team could end up falling to K-State this week, but we'll find out later on. K-State ranks second in the Big 12, for 299 points. Defensively wise, they are the best in the Big 12, averaging about 15.9 points a game giving up. Will Howard also has got the team going, especially after that ankle injury that he ended up having, and they won 41-0 after throwing 2 touchdowns against Houston last week. Now number 3, and you'll be shocked, I put Texas at number 3. Big reason why, Quinn Ewers is out, and you also have Malik Murphy that is going to be the starter. But another big key fact is Jonathan Brooks. He has been playing huge offensively, 923 yards, 7 touchdowns. And at number 2, and these number 1 and number 2 spots to get to Arlington is number 2, Oklahoma State. And Ollie Gordon, he's been the guy. He has been the guy for Oklahoma State to get this thing going. 250-plus yards rushing, back-to-back games. First time since Barry Sanders. Plus also 3-time National Player of the Week by Doak Walker. And he also got the Maxwell Player of the Week this week as well, too. He's been playing well. And on the tackling side, it's Nicholas Martin, the leading tackler in the Big 12 with 40 tackles and 5 sacks. And then at number 1 is Oklahoma. Recent loss to Kansas for the first time in 18 seasons, but Dylan Gabriel with 2,300 yards, 19 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, has been playing big, and he also ranks 13th nationally in offensive passing. Now, Bedlam will decide if Oklahoma State or OU is going to be the team that really has the best chance of making it to Arlington. But here are the Big 12 standings. Oklahoma, of course, sitting right there at number 1, 7-1 after their loss to Kansas. Number 2, Texas. Number 3, Oklahoma State. Number 4, K-State. And number 5, Iowa State. Then following all the way down at the bottom, Oklahoma State absolutely obliterated this team, is number 14, Cincinnati. They are 2-6 on the season, 0-5. and are struggling their first season in the Big 12.
It's amazing to think how tight this race has become. Not many people saw this happening about a month ago.
Not one bit.
And that being said, it's time for our favorite segment, as we know every week, time for our weekly picks. Tony, I'll start with you. Let's start in the Big 12 by going to Austin, Texas for Kansas State taking on the Longhorns.
I'm going to go with Kansas State here. I think we saw a lot from them in that game when they came to Stillwater, and Texas can have another off game, and I'm going to go with that.
All right, Chase, how about you?
I'm going to go K-State as well, too. Not having Quinn Ewers on the Texas side. Yes, Malik Murphy did well this past week. Just don't think it's going to be enough this week. And they may even see Arch Manning out there, but I've got Will Howard taking the job and beating Texas this week.
Looks like we have a disagreement. I'm taking the Longhorns at home. The loss of Quinn Ewers will hurt them, but I still think they get the job done in Austin. Going up now to Ames, Iowa, where we were earlier this season, where the Jayhawks take on the Cyclones. Who are you picking?
I'm going to go with the Jayhawks. I'm going to say they're going to keep that momentum. They just had a big win, and although I think Iowa State will hold their own in the game, I think the Jayhawks will be on top.
I mean, I mentioned Rocco Becht. He's been having a great season, but Devin Neal, you guys talked about it last week in that big upset win against the Sooners. I've got to go Kansas as well, too. I believe they're going to keep this win momentum, maybe try to squeak their way to the Big 12 championship. I don't know. 2 losses is going to be hard.
Looks like we have another disagreement. I'm picking the Iowa State Cyclones. They're favored by 2.5. I think they get the job done at home. They're tough to beat at Jack Trice Stadium. KU's been dominant, as we know. I think they come up short. Moving on to the SEC, one of the biggest matchups of the week. LSU taking on Alabama. Who do you have in this iconic rivalry?
I don't think I can bet against Alabama, especially the way they've been playing, and I'm going to take, well, I don't want to say Roll Tide, but I'll take the Crimson Tide.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to be taking the Crimson Tide as well, too, because you have to go over the fact that they have had so many comeback victories this season. And first half doesn't look great, but second half, don't count Bama out and Nick Saban. I've got Bama winning against LSU.
I want to pick LSU in this game. Daniels is playing outstanding right now. He was a Heisman frontrunner at the start of the season. He's still in that mix very much. I just have a hard time picking against Nick Saban and Alabama, regardless of how dominant that team may be. Jalen Milroe doesn't have to do too much, but I just got to go with Bama at home. I think we all agree for once today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Moving over to the West Coast, where Washington takes on USC. Tony, who are you taking?
I'm going to go with Washington on this one. USC had a lot of difficulties with Cal, just barely scraped by the other day, and so I'm going to take the Huskies with this.
Chase?
Lincoln Riley, Caleb Williams are done at USC after this year. Telling you right now, that Raider job is open. Could it happen? We'll see, but I've got Washington beating Caleb Williams and Lincoln Riley this week. Michael Penix, he's playing great. He's playing great this year.
He is, and he's currently my pick to win Heisman. I think they continue their momentum into LA and take care of business. USC started as a potential contender and have fallen flat since then, following 2 consecutive losses and nearly dodging a bullet last week. I got to go with the Huskies on the road. And finally, the most anticipated matchup of the week, Bedlam, folks. OU, OSU, who are you picking?
Well, I think we already all know my answer, but truly I do believe in the Cowboys this week. I think that they're coming off of this win. They know that OU is beatable, although they will have that revenge. OU will. They just had their first loss. I think that we take that and we say, okay, they've been beaten. We don't have to do it first. So I'm going to go with OSU 27 to OU 24.
All right, Chase, let's say, what do you have to say?
Man, at the beginning of the season, I thought I was going to end up having to call an upset here, but I feel really good about the Cowboys. Ollie Gordon's been playing stout. I mean, Doak Walker, National Player of the Week 3 times in a row. When's the last time that's ever happened here at Oklahoma State? I mean, it is just unfathomable that Oklahoma State is doing what they're doing. Also with Nicholas Martin, you also look at Latu as well, too. I mean, this Cowboys team is rocking, but don't give me the side of Dylan Gabriel. He can throw the football, and that's where the Cowboys are likely to get beat this week. But I do have the Cowboys winning it. Ollie Gordon's going to take charge with Alan Bowman, get things done. I've got a similar score to what Tony's got. I think it's just going to be a little bit more high scoring, and I'm going to go a 35 to a 32 Cowboy win.
Fantastic. A month ago, if you had said that OSU would have a realistic shot at beating OU in Bedlam, that would have sounded incomprehensible. That being said, OSU has shown they can contend with some of the best teams, and they've really flipped their season around.
Yes.
It's been the ultimate turnaround. I like the Cowboys at home, folks. Give me 30-27 OSU and an all-time classic in the final Bedlam match. We'll be sending OU packing.
Man, I'm excited.
Me too.
I hate that it's ending, but I'm excited for the final, especially if we can come away with the win. It's just going to feel so great being able to talk about it for the rest of the time. And OU can't be like, well, we'll get you next year, or they'll bring up their record, but it doesn't matter. It's an 0-0 record right now. Whoever wins, bragging rights for the rest of their life.
This will truly be a Bedlam unlike any other we've ever seen. Well, that being said, that wraps up today's edition of the Poke Report. For the Poke Report, I'm Griff McClellan.
I'm Toni Wetmore.
We'll see you next week. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. Go Pokes.
Can't wait for our Bedlam wins.